Azania Mosaka, 702.
Your number one news and talk station.
On 92.7 and 106 FM.
Well, good afternoon and thank you for staying with us at 7 minutes past 2. And it is time for the masterclass, which we do every single Wednesday. So we invite you, of course, to suggest the kinds of topics that you'd like to be immersed in for this hour. And so often, you know, it's about our curiosity as a team and we invite your suggestions. And this time around, you have done so. So one of our listeners was curious about hypnosis and how it works. So like I said at the beginning, I am completely skeptical. So I'm approaching this with a bit of cynicism and skepticism. And we decided to invite, of course, as we always do, someone who has over 10,000 hours at that particular discipline. And today we have internationally acclaimed hypnotist Max Khan. And he's built a remarkable track record that has spanned 2 decades. He's been in several countries, many countries, and over 3,000 stages doing presentations on them. Whether it is for corporates or for other types of engagements, he has been the go-to man when it comes to hypnosis. So what we did is earlier on, we went around the office and we asked a number of our colleagues if they would be willing to have a session with Max. So in the previous half hour of the show, I think from about 20 to 2 or so, right? Max went into the other studio and we've got the video of it all, which we'll put up on Facebook, and we're also live streaming this conversation. Oh, I needed to tell you that right at the start. Quickly, go to Facebook, and go onto the 702 page because we're live streaming today's masterclass. So earlier on, and we will share this video, Max was in the other studio with Zanele, with Jacob, Dineo, as well as Sheldon. And Max will explain briefly what we see in the video. And then we'll also chat to the colleagues who got to undergo hypnosis or, I don't know what to put. What was the stage that you did, Max? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Azania, and it's great to be on the show. I'm a big fan. I love your work.
Thank you.
I'm just really having a great time here.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a great pleasure. What I've done is I've hypnotized Jacob and Zanele. I put them into a light state of trance, and that took me about 5 minutes, as the video will show you.
Yes.
And they're just waiting on our instructions, so we can play around with them a little bit later on or whenever, and they're going to be very receptive and very susceptible to our suggestions, in particular my suggestions, of course.
I'm moving my bag, by the way. Maybe it may have been in the way of the shot. So go onto the 702 page because you'll be able to see the things that are happening in studio right now as we speak with Max Khan. So that was light hypnosis. Was that to have a general test to see if someone's open?
What I did was I had 4 people at first, and 2 of them responded very well and 2 not so well. Because of time factors, I concentrated on the 2 who responded, and that's who we've got here, Zanele and Jacob.
Yeah. So they understand our conversation right now?
Oh, yes. For all intents and purposes, they're as normal as can be, if there's such a thing, by the way.
Jacob is saying to me, like, excuse me, we're sitting right here. What makes you think we can't? Okay. And Zanele is giggly. And you are how many months pregnant again? 6. And some of our colleagues are like, don't do it. The baby will also.
Hypnosis is perfectly safe, even when you're pregnant.
Yes.
In fact, a lot of ladies nowadays, rather than using epidurals and things like that, would prefer to have their own hypnotherapist there and have a completely natural childbirth.
Oh.
Painless as well. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, Zanele, you give me a call. I'm waiting.
Okay, I've never seen them like this. All right. But you've never seen them like that either, right, Abel? Fine. Over to you, Max.
Right now, they're feeling absolutely wonderful. They're feeling fantastic. They're so relaxed. And because they're so relaxed, and this is the ideal state of mind, is to be relaxed. Because when you're relaxed and you're feeling good about yourself, you emit this magnetic attraction that attracts people and circumstances to you. It's when you're tense and stressed, you actually shut people down. You shut people away. And, of course, opportunities. So my lovely friends, Jacob and Zanele, what I want you to do is just take a nice, slow, deep breath. And 1, 2, 3, sleep. Relaxing deeper and deeper. Wonderful, wonderful. Fantastic. Now, I'm only talking to you if I tap you on the shoulder, and I'm speaking to
Jacob.
Relaxing deeper and deeper. Jacob, when I click my fingers, must I speak in there?
You can. We want to bring it closer to you. Actually, we want to bring the mic closest to you.
Jacob, when I click my fingers, you'll awaken, and I'm going to ask you what your name is, and you won't remember. I'm going to suggest your name is George, and you'll agree with it, and you'll be convinced your name is George because you can't remember what your original real name is. Nod your head if you understand. Wonderful, wonderful. When I click my fingers, 1, 2, 3, wakey, wakey. Jacob, wakey, wakey. Jacob, you've completely forgot your name. What is your name, sir?
George.
George, yes, that's a nice name. How long have you been called George?
That's my name.
Is that your name? Okay. Do you have any middle names or anything? No middle names?
No middle name.
No, just George. And your surname, George? What's your surname, your second name? Your surname?
I don't know my surname.
You don't know your surname? Okay. George. Well, we had George Michael, so we've got a George. That's fantastic. That's wonderful. And what do you like about your name more than anything else?
It's a famous name.
It is a famous name, yeah. So is Jacob. Have you ever heard of the name Jacob?
Yeah.
Do you know anybody called Jacob?
No.
If you could choose between Jacob and George, which one would you choose?
George is my name. I'm fine with George.
Okay, no, that's wonderful. Okay, 1, 2, 3, sleep. Relaxing deeper and deeper. Your name is back to Jacob. When I click my fingers, you'll awaken. I ask you your name. You tell me your normal, usual name. 1, 2, 3, wakey, wakey for me. What is your name, sir? Your name?
Jacob.
Jacob, absolutely. Not George.
No.
Not George, okay. You don't like the name George?
No.
No, you wouldn't prefer to be called George?
No, my name's Jacob.
Yeah, has anybody ever called you George recently?
Not that I know of.
Not that you know of. Okay, 1, 2, 3, sleep. Relaxing deeper and deeper. Wonderful. Now, my lovely sisters and Neely, listen carefully, my darling, because when I click my fingers this time, you're a famous opera singer. You're going to raise your voice in the highest pitch that you can and sing any old song that you like. 1, 2, 3, wakey, wakey. Sanila, give us a song in opera. You're an opera singer. Give us a song in opera. That's a note. Give us a few more notes. Go, 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 go. And 1, 2, 3, Zanili's sleep, relaxing deeper and deeper. Maybe opera's not Zanili's forte, but nevertheless, that was quite a high pitch.
Yeah, that was pretty high. I can't believe it. I simply can't.
It is unbelievable.
Yes. So the kind of things that you're suggesting.
Yes.
Is it... So this is in keeping with... What kind of control do you have over this? Is it about you suggesting things that they're malleable to?
Well, because I've put them into this state of hypnosis, they're feeling good. They trust me, obviously. They would not have done this if there was no trust there in the beginning. And it's very, very important to establish that trust and to establish the rapport. And because that's in place, basically any suggestion I give them, they would carry out. Obviously, nothing against their values or their morals.
Yes.
No, not even under hypnosis will you do things like that. So it's,
So those are intact, even under the state of complete relaxation.
Oh, absolutely, yes. That's your very core of your being, and it would take more than a 5-minute brief, light hypnotic induction to ever get close to that level where you could begin to change those patterns.
Yes. Can we ask Jacob to pretend he was a soccer player?
We can, yes. Yeah. A soccer commentator, maybe?
Perhaps, yes. He's quite talkative.
I think so, absolutely. Jacob, when I click my fingers, you're going to be a soccer commentator, and it's the last 30 seconds of the game. It's a real nail-biting cliffhanger game, and you're going to erupt into rapid-fire commentary. 1, 2, 3, wakey, wakey, Jacob, you're a soccer commentator.
Cristiano Ronaldo on the ball right now. He's going towards the 18 area. Oh, it's a foul at the moment. It looks like they're about to take a free kick. Iniesta's looking at taking this free kick. Here we go. The crowd is waiting for it. 93 minutes. The game is almost over. Almost before and Iniesta scores! It's a goal from Iniesta! They are now 2 up. It is a goal. 94 minutes. The game is over. There goes the whistle. Iniesta with the winning goal.
And 1, 2, 3, Jacob, sleep. Relaxing deeper and deeper. Well, that was absolutely fantastic. By the way, this guy is talented.
Yes.
Seriously talented.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got it.
I was so impressed.
Oh,
I was there. I was at the stadium with him.
Jacob has got it. Exactly, yeah. That was real. Hey, well, that was cool commentary, eh?
And then let's also put Zanele to the test. What could we ask her to do?
You know, since Jacob has gone into now what I would term a medium state of hypnosis, which is slightly deeper than the light state. Zanele is still in a very light state of hypnosis. Okay. So, yeah, what would you like me to get Zanele to do? Anything in particular?
Maybe she's a chef. And what? Pole dancer.
Yeah, well, you know what? Being pregnant, we don't really want to exert her too much. But I tell you what, Zanele, when I click my fingers, I want you to imagine you're a famous piano player. Get your hands ready at the keyboards, eyes tightly closed, relaxing deeper and deeper. Wonderful. When I click my fingers, Zanele, you're going to start playing the piano like a real seasoned professional. Here we go. Start playing that piano. I wish the listeners could see this.
Hear
Gosh. Yeah, Richard Clayderman or Liberace hasn't got a look in here. She's really playing that, going up and, I mean, she's playing the chords,
at
everything.
At
incredible speed, yeah. Go faster, Zanele, faster, Zanele, wonderful. Now, Zanele, your left hand's gone lame. You can only play your right. Twice as quick with your right only, wonderful. And, you see that sweeping movement, Azania? Oh, isn't it beautiful? And 1, 2, 3, sleep, Zanele, sleep. Relaxing deeper and deeper.
So can someone remain in the state? For how long?
No, you know what? If I was to walk out of here, within about 10, 15 minutes, they'd be out of the hypnotic trance. And that's largely because they're listening to my voice and there's an expectation of instructions or suggestions going to be given to them. Mm-hmm. And if that doesn't happen, their conscious mind will start to say, well, where's Max? Why is he not speaking to me anymore? And that consciousness will take you out of the semi-unconsciousness that you're in and bring you back to the fully wide-awake state.
Right.
Yeah, so that would happen within about 10, 15 minutes.
But if you had to actively take them out of the
I'm
state.
going to do that. Once we're finished, I'm going to actively...
Let's actually have a break. I think we need to take a break.
And remove all the suggestions.
Yes. Oh, remove. We'll talk about that. Let's take a break. It's 19 minutes past 2. I hope you've been watching this. Interesting comments. Tsitsi is in stitches saying, Maestro Zanele, lolest. And then Jabulani says, this is psychology, Pella. It's science. And another one says, Marissa says, as a pole dancer for a pregnant lady. So the responses, people are watching, go onto the Facebook page, especially after the break, if you want to see how they taken out of this hypnotic state.
702 Masterclass.
It's 23 minutes past 2. Right. So for today's masterclass, one of our listeners suggested that we do hypnotherapy, hypnosis as the focus for the masterclass. So we have invited internationally acclaimed hypnotist Max Khan. You can check out his work, his reputation, maxkhan.com. That's his website. And he's been doing this for 25 years. So 4 of our colleagues volunteered and 2 of them were particularly susceptible with the time that we had. It was quite limited, as you can understand. But often Max could take longer, even with those that don't go under even the lighter phases. He can spend more time so that, but for the purposes of today's show, we weren't able to do that. We had to go with the ones that were immediately agreeable, and that was Zanele and Jacob. So Max, can we do one more thing before you bring them out?
Yes, let's select Jacob, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to just position Jacob over there. I'm going to give him the microphone. And Jacob, when I click my fingers, you'll awaken. And you will believe you are the one and only, the legendary Michael Jackson. You're going to dance, sing, perform like Michael Jackson. Nod your head if you understand. Wonderful. The suggestion's already there.
Yes.
The suggestion is already accepted. He just can't wait to go.
Wow.
Jacob, just come this way, relaxing deeper and deeper as you do so. Eyes tightly closed. Just come over here, sir. Relaxing deeper and deeper as you do so. Just stand right there for me. When I click my fingers, you will believe you are Michael Jackson. You're going to dance, sing, perform like Michael Jackson. There's your microphone. Hold that nicely. And 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Michael Jackson live on 702.
My life will never be the same. Girl, you came and changed the way I walk, the way I talk. I cannot explain the things I feel for you. Oh, it's true. You rock my world. You rock my world.
You know you did.
Oh, baby, you know do, and everything I gotta do. You rock my world, you know you do, and everything you rock my world.
Look at that moonwalk. That is some authentic moonwalker.
Oh, baby, you rock my world.
Yeah. We love you, Michael. We love you, Michael.
Thank you very much. Sit yourself back down right over there next to Zanili. Sit yourself down.
What are you doing?
I'm holding the mic.
Why am I holding a mic? Oh, what a question.
Holding a mic.
What a fantastic question.
Right. So can we bring them out completely? Oh, what's
Yeah.
wrong, Jacob? What's wrong?
A little dazed. I don't understand what's happening.
Oh, because last time you were sitting there. Next thing you found yourself standing
holding
there.
a microphone.
Yeah, you were holding a microphone.
That's it.
Yeah.
You were dancing. Tell me, do you like Michael Jackson?
Well, I know him.
Yeah.
He's just another musician.
If I asked you to dance like Michael Jackson and sing like him, would you do it?
No, dude, I
No.
can't dance for anything. I'm horrible at dancing.
You know what? That goes to prove categorically that there's a part of our brain that holds us back in life. It's where our doubts live, where our fears live, where our concerns live. And what we just witnessed there is the other part of our brain that allows us almost free reign to be the creative individuals that we truly are and not to have any of these restrictions. Anyway, Zanili and Jacob, 1, 2, 3, sleep. Relaxing deeper and deeper. Wonderful, wonderful. Relaxing deeper and deeper. When I click my fingers and you hear the number 3 together with my fingers clicking, you will awaken feeling absolutely wonderful, feeling absolutely fantastic, and every suggestion and effect of this demonstration will have left you. 1, you're feeling absolutely fantastic. 2, you're feeling wonderful. Take a nice, slow, deep breath. And 1, 2, 3, wakey, wakey, eyes wide open, feeling absolutely wonderful, feeling absolutely fantastic. Give them a big round of applause. Wow.
Super colleagues. Super duper colleagues.
Yes.
You were amazing. That's what you did.
Amazing's the word.
Yeah, the two of you were
Amazing is the word.
amazing.
And you know, that's the great thing about hypnosis. It's absolutely amazing. And why more people don't arm themselves with it is perhaps the biggest mystery to me.
So, how are you feeling, Jacob?
I feel fine. I'm okay. A little dazed and confused and very tired. Is it okay for me to feel tired? I feel like I want to sleep.
Absolutely. And when you sleep tonight, you'll sleep like a baby, I promise you.
wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We can all do with that, right?
I could do that.
Zanele, you're stretching. What's up?
I just woke up.
Yeah, feels like you just woke up. Okay, excellent. Thank you, fabulous colleagues.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you,
go
Zanele.
onto the Facebook page, Jacob, and you'll be able to see what went on while you were resting.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Okay. So there's still so much to unpack about what just happened. So in snapping them out of it,
Yeah.
it's just an instruction to say that the stage you are under is past. It's over.
Absolutely. They're now completely 100% back to normality, whatever that might be for them. But yeah, all the suggestions have been removed. Not even I could hypnotize them. Now, if I walked over to them, I wouldn't be able to say sleep. They would disregard me
Snap
completely.
of a finger does not.
Wouldn't work anymore because the
back the
suggestion
state.
has been completely removed. And all self-respecting stage hypnotists always do that.
Yes.
They remove all the suggestions at the end of the show or the demonstration. And it's just being good and professional.
Okay, so now we need to really interrogate some of the different aspects of hypnosis.
Yes.
So, what is hypnosis? Does it mean that you've had direct access to their subconscious?
That's one very good way of describing it. Hypnosis really is an everyday tool that's being used formally, which we just witnessed there now, and perhaps more worrying informally when people are being hypnotized by respective people and don't even realize it. And you know,
Like where? Okay, so this is the formal. What we experienced
Okay.
was the formal.
Yes, you see, people know I'm a hypnotist.
Yes.
So when I walk into a restaurant or I walk into a shopping mall, people will say, "Oh gosh, there's Max Khan, the hypnotist." Don't look into his eyes. And let me tell you, if you're listening at home, it's not the eyes that hypnotize you; it's the voice. The voice.
So,
The voice is very powerful.
so what happens in the informal context then?
Well, informal contexts such as charismatic church leaders and politicians are all very, very hypnotic. And they've got the most, perhaps, greatest hypnotic mediums to send their hypnotic messages out. And that's radio and, of course, TV.
Yes.
And they're reaching millions of us. I mean, how else can you explain why you would vote for someone who didn't keep his promises and then a couple of years later you vote for him again? You've got to be hypnotized,
Yeah.
I think. Otherwise, you've got a very bad memory. So with hypnosis, we can actually help you with your memory as well. Memory enhancement is really increased and multiplied under the hypnotic state.
In a church context, I can certainly see that. I've yet, I think, to see a politician have, and I'm sure it happens, especially those perhaps that are aware of the various powers of the tools that they have, in the charisma, in the voice. But in a church, I can certainly see that happening.
Definitely. It happens all the time, especially in the charismatic churches where there's a lot of
the music,
theatrics.
All these things that are meant to elevate your sense of...
And what they're doing is they're elevating your sense of well-being. You're feeling really, really good. And when you go into somewhere and you start to feel good, your brain immediately wants to know, where are these good feelings coming from? Who's giving me these good feelings? So your brain has to attach the good feelings to the pastor, to the church, to the message, to whatever is being communicated. And then once your brain has established that, it will accept that as being fact. So your brain will ordinarily want a little bit more of that, because let's be honest, we are creatures who would prefer to feel good more of the time than less of the time.
Absolutely.
Although when you look at some people, how they're living their lives, they're doing the opposite. They seem to get satisfaction from feeling miserable and unhappy.
More of the time,
More of the time, yes.
So that's the voice of Max Khan. That's not the eyes, it's the voice, like you said. He's an internationally acclaimed hypnotist, and we have him on today's masterclass. What would you like to know? And you watched the demonstration. Maybe you've just finished watching what happened, the hypnosis that Zanele and Jacob underwent. What would you like to know? What were your observations? And just generally about hypnosis. We'll take your calls on 011-883-0702, 31702 for your SMSs.
702 Masterclass.
It's 24 minutes to 3 o'clock, and we're taking your questions this afternoon. Just so many people cynical, skeptical, like I was at the beginning, but I know my colleagues. I said opposite Zanele. All that separates us in the office is literally our computers. I sit across from her all the time. And Jacob and I, of course, we talk cars on every consecutive Tuesday. I know his sister, know him outside of the office as well. So to see them like that, I'm absolutely convinced as to whether I could is another matter. So does that mean that the person's own openness and readiness, their state of relaxation, has to be at a particular point that... Or is it possible to hypnotize everybody?
I believe everybody can be hypnotized. Obviously, there's a time factor. Some people respond quicker than others. And Jacob has nearly responded very quickly today.
You even said Jacob was gifted.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely gifted. Yeah, he's got a special talent, which we will see in the next 3-4 years. He's going places. And I'm coming now from a psychic point of view, but that's another story.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, no, a person's willingness in the beginning to be hypnotized tells me that they're going to be cooperative and they're going to open up to the process. So what happens is when the process starts to take place, it's no big deal to them because they were expecting it anyway. Someone who's not so willing, when they feel themselves starting to relax or they're unable to bend their arm, they get a fright.
Yes.
It sort of worries them, and that can sometimes shake them out of the trance that they were just about to go into.
So it is a trance?
Yeah, it's a light hypnotic trance. Like everything, life is a trance. Are we real or are we just dreaming?
Oh my gosh, don't do that.
Don't do that, no.
Don't do that now. I'm starting to see all these psychedelic geometric prints,
Yes.
or rather patterns. I feel like I could be sucked into something else. Let's go to Cynthia calling from Randburg. Please put your headphones on, Max. Cynthia, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I was listening to Max talking earlier on, and he said that some people have even used hypnosis for childbirth and so on and so forth.
Yes.
And that took me back 35 years ago when I was one of my gynae's first patients at that time to do self-hypnosis. And I delivered 2 children with hypnotic, doing the self-hypnosis myself. After my first one, I had... the placenta stuck, so I had to go into surgery, and I did that under hypnosis as well. And then 2 years ago, when I broke my wrist, I had it fixed just under hypnosis. They pushed it together, and I didn't have to have surgery.
And you put yourself under hypnosis?
Yes, I do, because my doctor now has gone, so he taught us how to do self-hypnosis so that we could use it for medical reasons. And I've used it for quite a few other things as well when I want to stay calm and not hit my kids over the head.
Oh, Cynthia, that's fascinating. Thank you so very much for the call.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so explain what's going on there. Someone can induce hypnosis.
Yeah, well, Cynthia's obviously a very good subject because to do that on her own is you've got to be very confident. But she's absolutely right. You can hypnotize yourself, and it's something I teach people. I teach people self-hypnosis, and I teach people hypnotherapy, where they can hypnotize other people.
Yeah.
And basically what's happening when you're hypnotizing yourself is because you know what it feels like, because really at the end of the day, it's just a feeling, and it's a feeling or a sensation that you bring upon yourself. And once you understand how this method works, you can bring the feeling on yourself almost instantaneously. And that's what Cynthia would have done during childbirth and with her wrist and other things, like when she wants to relax.
Yes.
Because when you notice that you're feeling stressed, well, you can either panic and become more stressed, or you can do the opposite of stress, which is relaxation and calmness.
So you're setting aside the conscious mind with its worry, with its needing to solve things, need for control, the ego, because in fact you said the states that they were in is a really free, liberated space.
Yeah, you're not restricted by what will other people think
and say.
What will they approve? Will they disapprove? All you're really concerned with is, I'm able to do this, and I'm going to do this to the best of my ability, and this feels good, and this feels lovely, and this feels wonderful. Let me do it. They're almost like chomping at the bit to get going with it.
So a couple of questions. One says, I'd really love to be able to do this. I'm just trying to find the person's name. I'd really love to be able to do this. How long does it take? I mean, you've been doing this for 25 years.
Yeah,
how does one train to become a hypnotist?
Okay, well, next month, September, can't believe it's September already, but next month, September, I will be running a hypnotherapy course for about 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So if you're listening at home...
That's how long it takes, 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, we work 1 to 2 days per week because there's a lot of practical stuff. It's not just knowledge. Like everything in life, you know how to do things, but very seldom do people actually do what they know. So before we move on to the next stage, I always make sure that my students are able to do everything that I've shared with them the previous week, and that they're feeling good about it. And of course, they're feeling confident, because confidence is the golden thread that runs through everything, whether you're a hypnotist, a doctor, or a radio presenter. Confidence is the golden key.
So someone says, why was Zanele laughing when she was under hypnosis? That's Tobega. Why was she laughing under hypnosis?
Yeah, Tobago, Zanele was laughing because she was in a light state of hypnosis, and she was aware that what we were doing was funny, and she was merely just going along and enjoying herself as well. And when you're hypnotized, there's nothing wrong with it. And I love my volunteers to be enjoying themselves and to be laughing, because I think really what this world needs, Tobago, more than anything else, is more laughter and more joy.
Yeah, because we did see that Jacob was deeper than she was.
Jacob started off in a light state, but then he was slipping into a medium.
His body language was just, he was slouching and going deeper and deeper into it.
A rag doll.
Yeah. So let's look at the uses. A couple of questions. One says, can hypnosis stop me from fainting when I get an injection or give blood? Another one says, is it possible for Max to do hypnosis to change behavior for a long time? So it goes. There are a couple of others on the Facebook page, but in essence, what are some of its uses, its practical uses to change human behavior?
Nowadays, the biggest killer, the biggest menace around is stress.
Yeah.
Stress in the workplace, stress in the home, and hypnosis is a boon for stress, because you can't get rid of stress. The only person that doesn't have any stress is a corpse. And I don't think anybody wants to change places with a corpse anytime soon. I certainly don't. So what you've got to do is you've got to learn to respond positively to stressful situations, and you see them in a new light. Now, once you accept that consciously, and then you hypnotize yourself to receive it subconsciously, it becomes the norm. It becomes like your new behavior.
Yeah.
And how long this lasts for? Well, it's very much up to the individual. It can last for 5 minutes, or it can last for 5 years, or 50 years. How long do you want to stay a relaxed, in control, calm person, or do you want to switch back to the out of control, stressed, anxious person? I mean, I think the decision's pretty obvious, but sometimes it's not.
Yes, because there's another question. Would hypnosis effectively stop compulsive gambling? One lady said, is it possible for hypnosis to help my husband stop smoking? So when you do this kind of version of hypnosis, do you connect a negative response to the bad habit or a positive response to that act, to that bad habit?
From a hypnotherapy sense, I prefer attaching positivity to everything. I think people are suffering enough, and there's enough hardship. So I
to
don't
say
wanna,
that next time you smoke, you're going to feel like vomiting.
Well, you can do that. It's a bit of aversion therapy, and it does work, by the way.
Yes.
But there's much better ways, much more pleasant ways. And I like to instill upon and within the person this feeling like I'm actually in control. For the first time in my life, I realize I'm in control.
Are you able to bring up really personal, deep, entrenched personal problems? And almost address them during that period in that state of relaxation? Past traumas, perhaps?
You know, depending on the nature of the trauma, the very fact that if the person is still alive, they've got to admit the trauma could be worse, respectfully speaking. And I always operate from a platform of that, you know, you're still alive, so let's work on that and let's get past the trauma. And what we do is we desensitize the traumatic event where it becomes almost like, okay, it's nothing. Let's move on.
Wow.
Oh.
It sounds very simple.
That's the amazing thing. It is so simple.
Too simple.
Exactly. And because of that, a lot of people think, no, this won't possibly work because, you know, we're steeping ourselves nowadays in complexity. We're complicating our lives really beyond what it has to be. And I'm all for simplification. And I like to simplify everything, including the language I use. And I always speak to people in very simple words because I know those words, there's no ambiguity. Those words are sinking straight in. They're going to exactly the place I want them to be. And everything is based on what the client tells me that they actually want. I don't put words in that I feel they should have. I listen very carefully to, let's say, the problem the client shares with me, and then I replay those very same words back to them.
Okay.
Obviously at an unconscious level, and it makes sense to them. It's almost like déjà vu, like I've heard this before, and this makes sense. And if you just do more of that, if they adopt this, when they adopt this new behavior and they start doing more of that, they get the same result every single day.
Right.
And they often say things like, but Max, you know what, I had this problem for 20 years. Why didn't I come and see you sooner? I say, I don't know.
Yeah. There's a question about insomnia. You said that Jacob and Zanele are going to sleep really well tonight.
Jacob especially.
Yes. And the fact that they felt like they had been resting or sleeping and that they were induced in a very relaxed state.
Yes.
So I imagine it works really well to overcome insomnia.
Absolutely, because if you think about it, the hypnotic trance is like a transitionary state from being awake to being asleep. When you go into bed at night, you're normally awake, and then you start to drift off. You get kind of drowsy.
Yes, there's that between sleep and wake.
Absolutely,
state.
And then you slip into, let's say, sleep proper, deep sleep, and ordinarily you don't remember much about that, unless you start, of course, dreaming, which we all do.
Yes.
Some of us remember our dreams, some of us don't. But hypnosis for all the insomniacs out there. You know what? When you switch your bedroom light off tonight, switch off the world as well. Because let me tell you something, the world is going to go on fine without you. You don't need to worry. Most insomniacs are worrying about things they cannot change.
Okay. Let's take this one from Gershwin before we take the break. Hello, Gershwin.
Hi, good. How are you, Azania?
Good, thank you. Ever been hypnotized?
Yes, I have been. This is actually a couple of years ago, I think more than 10 years. But it was for entertainment purpose. You know, I think it was Andre the Hypnotist back then.
Yeah.
But my question is, while I was hypnotized, I obviously did not know what I was doing. But afterwards, I remembered everything up until today. Now, when the gentleman just hypnotized the guys on radio, he removed everything. So I don't know if they are aware of what they did, but like I say, in my case, I know everything that I did.
But under the hypnosis, you didn't have control. You just followed instructions.
That's correct, yes.
But afterwards, you had clear recollection of the things that you did.
Exactly.
Were there feelings attached Were there any feelings attached by any chance?
No, not really, because it was nothing serious that I did. You know, basically similar to what happened now, fun stuff and so forth.
Yeah.
But my question is just, are you not supposed to then forget all of these things while you were in the trance?
All right. Thank you for that one, Gershwin. Gershwin in Germiston. So what happens?
Gershwin, I prefer all my volunteers to remember everything because I want them to feel good. I want them to feel fantastic. So I don't induce any amnesia at all. And what probably happened is during the show, you'd have been enjoying yourself, you were having fun. And then afterwards, as you start to think back, as your friends or family tell you, but you were dancing like a ballet dancer or you were singing like an opera singer, it would be like remembering a dream. You know, when you wake up in the morning, you know you've been dreaming, and you know there was a car and a dog and a guy, but you can't put the syntax together to make sense of it. And it might have been like that. But yes, I want all my volunteers, all my subjects to remember. And that also cancels out the jokers, because you always get a lot of jokers who say, oh, you did this and you did that, which they didn't do.
Yes.
And my volunteers will be able to turn around and say, no, I didn't do that.
Yes, I have no recollection of that. Thank you.
None at all.
Oh, we're talking about your WhatsApps and your SMSs. Let's go to you, Phil. Phil, you're calling from Sophia Town. Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to ask Max, a couple of years ago, a friend of mine was an amateur hypnotist, and I convinced him to hypnotize me, right? When I went under, for want of a better phrase, I felt like I was in paradise or nirvana or whatever, this amazing sense of calm.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get me out of there. I could hear him calling me back and kicking and doing whatever he did, but my mind didn't want to leave where I was.
So eventually what happened?
I came back reluctantly, and he told me it had been about 40 minutes.
Oh, wow.
But I was reluctant. I wanted to stay where I was. In fact, I said to him, please send me back where I was. It just...
So lovely.
It was like I was in paradise or something. I really didn't want to come back.
Sure. Yeah, Max?
That's so nice. You've described that beautifully, nirvana, and then not wanting to return to this so-called normality. And the fact that the guy had difficulty bringing you back might have been indicated in the fact that you referred to him as an amateur hypnotist, and maybe he didn't have the necessary skills. And also the fact that you were having such a good time and enjoying yourself, it all makes sense. It's completely the way it is. It's a beautiful feeling, and it's all natural. There's no drugs, there's no narcotics, there's no alcohol, there's no cigarettes. It's all pure 100% natural.
Yes, so even for the trust, in order for someone to go into hypnosis, the same is required at the end. That trust, the confidence of the hypnotist to be able to bring you out.
Yes,
is that
absolutely.
fair to say?
Absolutely.
Right. There are quite a few questions, WhatsApps and on the Facebook page about smoking, firstly, and phobias. Does hypnosis help with those two? One has even added a drinking problem.
You know what? My major traffic in my hypnotherapy business is smokers. And currently, yes.
And what's the success rate?
I'm going to tell you, it's 80%. That's 8 out of 10 smokers come. They see me for about an hour. They stop smoking and they stay stopped.
Just one session, Max?
One session, yes, because all we're doing is making a decision. If you think about it, how long did it take you to decide to smoke? It was probably 10 seconds. And 30 years later, you're still doing it. So we'll spend the same amount of time reversing that decision, and the next 30 years can be healthier. With phobias, well, the first thing I like to establish, is it a genuine phobia or do you have a natural fear? And very often people realize, my gosh, I don't actually have a phobia. I just have this healthy fear. Fear of heights, for example. I don't have a fear of heights, but if I'm standing at the edge of the Carlton Centre and the wind is blowing, I might get fearful.
Right.
But to me, that's normal. That's healthy. That's my brain saying, hey, we're in a sort of dangerous state right now.
Okay.
But if I was unable to look at a picture of a tall building or a picture of a snake or a tiger or something like that, that would be a phobia. Okay. That's an irrational fear.
We've got a minute left and we've got to get through these two calls. Shireen in Melville, good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. What would you like to know from Max?
I've got a twofold question. I would like to find out if hypnotherapy would be a cure for a broken heart, because I'm sure a lot of people would want to know that. And would it also be able to cure a cheating spouse?
Ooh, okay. Interesting one, Shireen. Thank you for that question. And then Nick, hello.
Yes, guys, I've also just got two questions. Can a hypnotist give a trigger word to someone, wake them up, and then maybe years later say that trigger word and they're hypnotized again, like in the movies? And then if hypnosis could help at all with something like lucid dreaming, just a hobby of mine.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That's Nick and Shireen. Which do you want to start with first?
Well, we'll start with Shireen's broken heart, yeah. And I certainly hope it's not your heart, Shireen, because you have a lovely voice and you sound like a beautiful person. But if it is your heart, Shireen, you've got to just ask yourself what broke that heart and why did you allow your heart to be broken? And if you look at those two scenarios and you desensitize them, you begin to get back with your life. I think the other thing about the cheating spouse, well, there's always a reason why people do things. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you're scratching your ear or scratching your knee. There's a reason behind every human behavior. And I, as a hypnotherapist, like to establish that. I like to get to the genesis of the problem.
Okay.
Why are we doing that? Why is a husband or a wife cheating? There's always a reason. And when we find out that reason, then we can either deal with it or dismiss it or whatever.
Okay. And then trigger words.
Trigger words, yeah, very important, and it's used a lot in hypnotherapy. Some irresponsible stage hypnotists will also use trigger words, which they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
I believe the end of the show is the end of the show, and regardless if you see that person the next day or the next year, you should not be.
So it is possible, though.
Indiscriminately hypnotizing them. Yeah, it is possible.
It's unethical, it's immoral, but it is possible.
It's possible, yes.
Okay. And you were talking about lucid dreams. Can hypnosis help with that?
Hypnosis helps with the dreaming in as much as helps you to remember your dreams, because the biggest problem with the dreams is people can't remember them.
Yes, when we wake.
And once you remember the dreams, then you can begin to interpret them correctly and look for what perhaps does this dream mean.
Yes, the key.
Is this dream warning me? Is this dream giving me information? So yeah, it can absolutely help there too.
Fantastic. So it's maxkhan.com. That's Khan, K-A-A-N. That's our internationally acclaimed hypnotist for today's masterclass. Thank you, Max.
Thank you.